Welcome to logbook number 15. The date is August 15th. Oh my god. This particular logbook is targeted for you guys who are still studying in the university and getting your bachelor's degree. There's always a debate on what to do when you graduate or when you get your bachelor's degree. Some prefer to study further and obtain their master's right away, and then some would also prefer to actually just take a break from studying and start working. Now, based on my experience, I have graduated about 4 years ago, and what I did was that I started working right away while doing some other freelance work. So keep in mind that I don't have a full-time job. In my case, I did not start studying for my master's degree until 2018, so that's 3 years after my graduation. Meanwhile, I do have some friends who literally start the same year as they graduate. I also have a friend who worked for a year before he started his master's, and then some of them just worked and haven't obtained any masters up until now. So there's a lot of people I could ask about, and probably their answers would be based on their experience as well, like their preference. Getting a master's degree or working should be based on the kind of job that you want to do when you graduate. So during my last semester, when I was doing my undergraduate thesis, one of my lecturers offered me to teach. But then again, some people might not be that fortunate, maybe they have to struggle a bit finding a job. But if you are one of the people who are lucky enough to know what you want to do and you already secured a position, a job, then by all means do your job. Go to work. When you're doing that work, whatever the position is, whatever your job is, while you're working, maybe within the first 1 or 2 years, you need to figure out whether it's what you actually want and whether or not you need a master's. Some positions in some companies or some jobs don't really need a master's degree to do. So again, based on the job that you do, within those 1 or 2 years of working, if you think that you need a master's degree, then you need to start figuring out how to fund that. Are you going to get a scholarship? Are you going to fund it using your own money that you get from working? Just figuring out that first, and then make sure that you already know the major that you want to take if you do want to take a master's degree. But if you find out that your job does not require you to have a master's degree and that you think that you will be working in that place for a long time, then I would say that fine, but make sure first, because I've seen a lot of people work for more than 5 years and then they decide that, oh, I actually need a master's, and then they end up getting their master's in an age that is too old, because sometimes when you graduate and then there's this gap between you studying for your bachelor's and for your master's, and then you lose your momentum. You forget how it's like being a student, and then you need more time to adjust to your master's lifestyle, and that could be challenging. An advantage for actually continuing studying master's right away after you get your bachelor's is that you still have the feeling of being a student, and you're still young, obviously, so you still have that energy, the same energy, you have the same, everything is still really relatable to you, so you're not losing anything, in my opinion. And then when you graduate, you will still be young, but then you probably have zero experience. My personal preference would be that to work for 1 or 2 years, not for too long, and then get a master's, because I read somebody, I think it was in the Overheard University Instagram account, somebody mentioned that getting a master's degree is like paying for health insurance. You might not need it now, but then in the future you're gonna need it. And I was like, that might be true, because if you put off getting your master's, it's gonna be harder to do it at the time when you need it. So especially if you're in the field of education like me, and like you want to keep teaching and you want to probably secure a position as a permanent lecturer or teacher wherever you're teaching, then yes, master's degree is essential. You're gonna need it. And I actually spent too long teaching. I spent 3 years when I could have just taken it within my first or second year of teaching. I put off getting my master's because I was waiting and I was applying for scholarships, which I eventually failed, and I stopped trying now. Some people have like this really strong opinion of how a master's degree won't be that beneficial because experience is, you know, more valuable, and that people at companies probably prefer those who have experience compared to those who graduated and obtained their masters at a young age but have zero experience. But then again, not all companies do that. You know, there are some places that allow you to learn and start from zero. It's just a matter of how smart you can get when you're looking for a job. Networking is key, because most of the time when you're close to seniors in your campus or close to the lecturers, that would be even better. They would then like know you, and then if they know your capability, they would then like, you know, reach out to you and offer you a job instead of you having to look for a job yourself. If you're now in like still in the first, second, third year of bachelor's and you have no idea what to do, or maybe if you're in your last year, then I would say that, you know, get to know more people in your major. Like, get to know your seniors, get to know your lecturers if you haven't already, and then ask them about like projects and stuff, work with them, you know, interact with them a lot, because eventually when they know you and they know your capability, they know your work ethic, people will always find someone they already know or someone they already trust to do a job that they have, instead of, you know, looking for someone completely new and having to like get to know them before giving them the job, right? It's like more time efficient. My last point is that sometimes the consideration for getting a master's is that maybe for the women, some of them might be worried that if they get their master's before they get married, it's going to be hard for them to find a guy, or if they do marry before getting their master's, they're going to be distracted with their families. I would say it depends on your individual competency. Like, if you're strong enough, then you could multitask like all mothers do. And if you're worried about not finding a guy who's at your level, then that's a matter of your self-confidence, I would say. There's a lot of people in this world. Surely there will be someone who would appreciate you for who you are and what you have achieved. My conclusion is that masters versus work, just analyze first what you want to do. But I personally think that working for 1 or 2 years is necessary before you actually get your master's. Okay, so logbook 15 is done. I'm signing out.